Hi, creator friends. This is Freya, and thank you so much for being here. So, I'm going to be doing a series on values, and to understand color, we need to understand values. And in the beginning, when I first started learning about color, as intimidating as color theory was, values were even more mysterious to me. But over the years, I've come to simplify it and understand it in a very basic way. So I'm just gonna not complicate things. And basically, values are the lightness or the darkness of a color. So just say I have this yellow over here, which is kind of a mid-tone yellow, I would say. I can turn it into a very light value by just adding a lot of white. Or conversely, I can turn it into a darker value by adding increasingly larger amounts of a darker value, a darker color. So basically, values are just the lightness or the darkness of a color. And all colors can be made lighter or darker. Now, I'm not going to be using this grayscale value finder in this video series. But if you do want to purchase it, you can get it from Dick Blick, and it's very cheap. It's like under $3, I want to say, and it's very handy. But for this particular exercise, I am going to be using a very limited color palette, and that's another way that you can increase your knowledge and use of values. It's just you don't use a lot of colors. So basically, I'm using a titanium white. I have a Prussian blue, which is a very cool blue. I have a Payne's gray. It's called ink, but it's basically a Payne's gray, which is like a black. And I may or may not use this burnt sienna, which is a delicious earthy color. I also have a couple of inks that are very neutral earthy colors, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be using them or not. So basically, this is my mixed media Fabriano pad, and you could just use whatever you have on hand, like as a substrate. So basically, I'm just going to do a quick sketch. I don't want to get too detailed. I just want to place my facial features, but I do want to have a very loose approach. I've been doing my paint a monster approach to mixed media portraits, and I'm so in love with working that way. So I kind of want to have that loosey goosey kind of feel to it. But while I do this, I'm going to just talk a little bit about values. So a long time ago, I took a class, and I don't remember if it was a portrait class or a color class. But anyways, the teacher said if you get your values right, then you can use any color you want. And I didn't understand it at the time, but the more I work with colors and the more I learn and work, as an artist, I find that to be true. The more you strengthen your knowledge of values, the more you're going to strengthen your knowledge of colors. And if you get your values right, you can use any color you want. And this holds true whether you're doing a portrait, whether you're doing a landscape, whether you're doing a still life, it really doesn't matter. So I am just going to place my facial features here. And now I'm really going to want to reach for my reds and my pinks and my oranges. I know I am, but I'm not going to. And I'm also not going to be using any collage at all. No tea bags, no dictionary pages. I just want to focus on the values. So the best way is to have a very limited color palette and pick a very dark value, a very light value, and a mid-tone value. Now I have two dark values. I have my Prussian blue, which is a dark value, and I also have this here, which is a dark value, but this is a mid-tone value. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work really fast, And I'm going to start off with my Prussian blue. So I just want to kind of lay some color fields down. And because I've been working, like, paint a monster, I have been loosening up quite a bit, which is really freeing for me. So I'm really loving that approach where, I'm not getting so hung up on all the details, and I'm just kind of being much more loose. And just working really. And because I want to kind of gringe it up a little bit, I am going to just splash some paints over here, just because I don't want that sterile kind of feeling. Okay, and now I'm going to grab my black, which is a Payne's gray, and I'm just going to kind of lay some stuff down here. And I am going to blot this just a little bit, because I don't want to muddy things up. I want the colors to be clean. Like, I don't want to I don't want to turn it into a big mess, And because it is wet, well, I don't mind the bleeding. I really don't. Some interesting things can happen, but I don't want it to turn into this, like just a big ugh mess. I want to keep the values clean. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to bring some of this white just for the background here. So what I would recommend you guys is, if you are going to do this, like follow along with this series, is just pick a titanium white. I really love this cashew, but it does lean towards a yellow. So for this particular exercise on values, I would go with a titanium white and a Payne's gray. So now you're going to have your white and your black. And then I would pick, if you have a Prussian blue, I wouldn't go and buy it. But I would pick a mid-tone color as well. And a burnt sienna is a really good color, but there are tons of other mid-tone colors that are earthy. So if you have those three colors, I would say just stick with that. Don't go, like, don't buy anything. But just look around your studio and see what you have, and I guarantee you're gonna have a mid-tone color. So now I'm gonna mix a titanium white with the Prussian blue, and just get like a little bit of a lighter blue here, but it's still a blue, and just So as you can see, you guys, I haven't really done a whole lot, but instantly you get a feel for a face. So anyways, you guys, I'm sorry this is such a short video, but I do want this to dry on its own. I want it to dry naturally, so I am going to allow that to happen, and then I'm going to come back and work on it some more. So if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!